this is Gimli, the son of Gloin, and let me tell you about dwarves. We're born on the ground, sucking from a sheet of stone, raised in the dark, the safety of our mountain home. Skin made of iron, steel in our bones. To dig and dig makes us free. Come on, brothers, sing with me. I'm a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. The hole, dig it hole. Oh man, I couldn't even continue.
It got so southern. I'm digging a hole. Like what? That was like dwarves of West Kentucky.
The cotton halls of
it's dwarves from the Appalachian Mountains.
Appalachian dwarves, y'all. Well, as you probably have gleaned from how just stupid we are right now, we're reviewing the completely logical album Windrose by the completely rational and
it's Winter Saga by the band
Winter
Windrose.
Saga. Oh my god, I can't. It's all just wind to me. Anyway, Winter Saga by Windrose. You can interchange that; it'd be the same, Tracy.
You can, but it's not right.
But it's not. You know, the people are going to know when they see the spread. You give them the graphics.
And by people, you mean dwarves.
I mean elves, dwarves, halflings.
David, you keep talking shit, they're going to tunnel underneath your house and club you.
Yeah, except they're going to run into those British people that are putting 20,000 pounds of explosive under me from a different album we reviewed. Because all these it's like heavy metal, all these timelines are coexisting. And then I just get tinnitus. Anyway, so Tracy picked this because... Oh, you didn't?
I forced it upon us. It's because like everybody's like, yeah.
Okay, let me rephrase. Windrose picked Tracy. He didn't pick it, and here it is. And I will say this: they committed very hard to this theme, like no one I've ever seen. Because I've seen some, black metal bands or a few other folk metal bands that are like into the thing they're doing and are like it's like a Ren Fair in human form, but this is just next level.
It is. All I know is like Ross the Boss looks at these guys and Matt's a little far.
I just felt like we needed some of that over-the-top cheesy European power metal in our lives.
Here it is. Oh, by the way, this is Thunderdome Metal Reviews. For those of you who are listening, we didn't even get to that part.
I know.
And I'm David, and Ben and Gabe and Tracy are here with me, as they always are, in spite of it all. How are we, gentlemen?
We're good. We're dwarves tonight.
We're still dwarfing.
Ready to talk about some meme-tastic trash.
You take the filthy words back, you.
Yeah, I got to tell the audience. I'll just get out of the way.
I thought it was pretty crazy, actually, that tune was generated from a meme, and yet it was still just as popular because of that. I mean,
yes.
And I think like, how do I explain this?
How does one explain it?
Gabe, you're trying to explain internet culture.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain internet culture, but also just like in what appears to be a totally competent band of musicians. They could have written anything they wanted to.
Could have.
And yet they chose to commit to this like meme and basically build an album around it.
You said they could write anything they wanted to, and this is what they wanted to.
To be fair, they're dwarves from the previous album as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that they had kind of...
Yeah, that's one thing I will say, Gabe, is I don't think you can accuse them of building their life around the meme. I think the meme just showed up at the right time. They're like, this is us. Like, I think that they were already dwarfing, so this is like Dwarfin' 2 Electric Dwarfaloo. Like, they're still dwarfing. They're dwarfing hard, but they've been dwarfing.
Okay, well, that makes a little bit more sense, because I just thought it was so improbable.
No, they were already this hard. Like they were coming hard with the dwarf thing, and then I'm sure they looked up dwarf shit on the internet. Like they put that in the Google search window, and that came up. They're like, we're covering this.
These dudes probably play Minecraft, nerds that they are. Anyway, Tracy, give us some details.
Sure.
This is their second studio album. It's released by Napalm Records. It's coming in at 50 minutes and 4 seconds. I'm going to end up butchering this. Oh, it is released on September 27th of 2019.
Would you like me to say their names? Because I can do that.
Yeah, you go for it. Your Italian's better than mine.
It is not as good as my German, but it is a thing. So we have Francesco Vocabieri on vocals, Claudio Forconcini on guitar, Federico Miranda on keyboards, Cristiano Bertocchi on bass, Federico Gatti on drums, and then guest artist Tatiana.
That's not real. I forgot to delete that.
I was like, is she on this album too? That shit is from Sofa Ninja. I was like, this bitch went to Italy too? And I was like racking my brain. I'm like, there was a female vocalist on this album?
Yeah, that's what I was like, what?
This is going great, Tracy.
This is like
so everyone,
fantasy dwarves and fantasy singers on fantasy dwarves
singers on fantasy albums. Everyone write this down. Tatiana is not on this album. I had to up my Italian game because I co-taught with an art history professor, and she like actually spoke Italian for real. And I was like, oh shit. I would correct everyone's pronunciation of everything. And we watched a bunch of Italian cinema. So I was ready for this moment, Tracy. We watched all these crazy Italian movies from the 80s, 60s, and before. And we also watched a recording of Mussolini speaking in English, which was the most disturbing thing I saw this entire semester.
Oh, wow.
In a suit going, hello, America. Like he's in Hollywood visiting, and he gives this whole spiel about, I love you, America. Like it's this really, he's like trying to make love to the United States.
I was in there for a while too. So
it worked. Oh no, it 100% worked. I mean, he did this it's in the 20s anyway.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Winter Rose by Wind Saga, which, as I say, it's all interchangeable.
Wind Rose by Winter Saga.
You're just so mad. Look, to me, it's Dwarfin 2, Electric Dwarfaloo, and Gabe. That they are not a meme. They're so much more than that. They're just some dudes from Pisa that love Tolkien, which I'm sure they read in Italian, and I'm sure they probably play Warhammer or whatever is popular in Italy, which is probably still Warhammer and D&D. And
I love hobbitses.
They love hobbitses, and I'm not a huge fan of folk metal because I find it stupid. But even though I like folk music, and the combination doesn't quite work for me, but I gotta admit these songs are fun. They're catchy as shit. I think part of it is I prefer feeling like I'm an oarsman on a galley to having someone who is a broke ass fake Bruce Dickinson yell at me. Right? We've talked about this. Power metal either needs somebody that is like Bruce Grade or Rob Halford, right? Or I guess it needs a bunch of dwarves. That seems
it needs the cheese. It needs that cheesy factor.
It needs to be either very good or I don't know, man. There's just something about just being in a line with a bunch of other assholes doing the same thing, and it's not your choice. Like that's just a thing that runs deep. It sounds like this.
It's kind of like Manowar or like the quintessential American power metal band, and they work because it's so fucking over the top. It's so over the top. They have the Guinness Book of World Records for the loudest concert ever. That's how over the top it is.
And these guys have the record for most dwarfy of any dwarfing that's ever been dwarfed. I mean, this
it's pretty dwarftastic. It is. They also have a lot of strings and a lot of string instrument parts, whether played on a keyboard or actual string instruments. I don't know.
I think it's all keyboard. Every bit of it is my guess. It was referred to by one reviewer as tavern music, which I was like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it is all electronically rendered tavern music.
Which public house were you at, sir?
Precisely. It was in Pisa, so it was rowdy, and the fucking Habsburgs were in charge. But I was there, and I was drinking, and it was great. I was digging a hole, y'all. Diggy hole. Diggy hole.
You did break me with that fucking video though. I thought they came up with diggy hole off the top of their head.
No, we need to explain it to the audience. So I went deep on diggy hole. I'm a historian. I'm like, what is the documentary evidence for why this is like this? Like fascism, like the First World War, there had to be an explanation. And so I found this it was some, I think, Scottish asshole, or I don't remember. Anyway, somebody from the British Isles who was playing Minecraft and was just singing, I'm a dwarf and I'm digging a hole, diggy hole. And then it became like a meme, and then it became sort of a video gamey thing, and then it became a song with an animated sequence of them fighting orcs on a scroll.
With a very Fantasia setup to it.
Yeah, no, you can just watch it evolve. It was really the internet just going, like transforming into a metal song, essentially. And Tracy was shook. He was like, this hurts me. I thought this was just genuine cheese. Like this was real cheese from their heart. not something they stole, like bitches. I don't know. You were so mad. I was like, no, this explains how insane this is. Like, I need to know. I have to know why it's like this, and now I know it's like this. I blame both the internet and Tolkien being in World War I and thinking about dwarves for this, and the internet. I know you did. It's the saddest I've ever seen you. And as I was selling it, Ben could not have, in any way, made it more clear he didn't give 2 fucks and was not going to engage with any of it. It was the most like, nope, absolutely not. He said it like 10 different ways. Like, I am not investing even 1 more minute in digging this hole.
What's funny is Ben introduced this song to me.
Yeah, but it tore Thunderdome apart. Right when I found out the truth, like, and I tried to reveal it. It made you sad. It made Ben angry. Gabe was just like shrugging. I assume. So it almost.
I watched some of it like begrudgingly because I was just like,
exactly.
I have to at least see what he's talking about, but I'm not going to watch this whole thing.
Dude, I know
it's too long.
You're a sucker for cultural studies. You're like, yeah, I guess I'll see why. Right.
When you shared that, I
was long enough to see what it was from, but I wasn't going to watch the full 12-minute expose on this stupid ass song.
I thought it was going to be a video of the band talking about their writing process for the song. It's like, cool, I want to see this. And
no, their writing process was the internet. But when did this come out? 2019? What year is this? Yeah, so
But to kind of put it for view, they're off this album, the most listened to song is Diggy Diggy Hole.
Obviously.
At 19 million listens on Spotify.
Oh, shit. And most of those are you, Tracy.
Yeah.
I'm about half.
I listened to that song a lot this week. My kid liked that song. Though eventually she was like, stop playing this song about holes.
No, I was hoping we had done something. Your daughter all of a sudden became a fan of cheesy power metal, and that was her favorite genre.
I'd have to sell it harder than this. We need to watch more videos. I need more videos of dwarves, and they need to be characters she can identify with, because she doesn't think about mining so much, or being 5 Italian dudes with huge beards. So it was hard for her to hook on to something. Unlike Slayer, which obviously is every young girl's dream.
Right. Drunken Dwarves is not a point of identification for 6-year-olds.
She couldn't hook on to it. Right. She's just like, I don't know. I'm looking at these guys. They're mining.
It's a point of identification for 24-year-old me, though. So
it is catchy as fuck. I really wanted to row that. I even went, because of this dumbass song, I went on the rowing machine, and I hate the rowing machine. I'm like, I'm gonna try rowing to Winter Saga, and it was a thing that worked. I mean, I'm probably not gonna do it ever again, but Winter Saga made me row. I admit it.
It did make you get the kettlebell and do mine movements.
I don't have the kettlebell yet. If Windrose is willing to send me some with their dirty metal money, I'll take it.
But to put it in perspective, back to what I was saying, the second most listened to song on this album is Drunken Dwarves at 3.5 million.
Well, Drunken Dwarves actually is, I think, it is probably the standout song on the album.
It's a incredible drinking song.
They're all kind of the same.
They are
all kind of the same, but that one I think is the one that I can tolerate more than the other ones.
I mean, they are incredibly catchy. Power metal is often very high energy, very to that one reviewer's point about it being tavern music. It makes you want to be in a tavern and have a pint. You can easily cling on to the choruses, especially the choruses of this, and they make you want to shout along. You don't have to think. It's all popcorn metal. It's meant to be fun, and I guess it kind of is. It's infectious anyway.
It's so fun. I've always said my power metal needs to be fucking cheesy. I was very happy with my cheese sandwich on this.
What threw me, man, is when you showed us that video, it was not them being dwarves. It was when they walked out of they finally left the Dicky Dicky hole, and they were in the Tuscan countryside. I was like, wait, what? Which tells me how much I think of, like, I guess New Zealand now, in terms of what it's supposed to look like where dwarves live. But I'm like, oh shit, Tuscany. There was like olive trees, like tourists on a wine tour in the background. I don't know. It really was
like, well, who are those dudes down there, and why do they have fake bullshit accents?
I know, totally. Italians, but the Italians just be like, they would just Ciao. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't care. They've seen so much, Ben, and
That's true.
They've seen it. They've done things.
Yeah.
So, oh,
It's been
Italy.
intense. I will forgive them for wanting to do something relatively mindless like this, pretending to be dwarves thing. So,
I mean, and it's also in English, and that country is a bit hostile to that, right? It's a bit more like France in that, like, Italians are really into Italian, like a whole lot, and you know, there's not much of an accent to hear. Their English is really good, and I've met plenty of Italians with amazing English, but it's not like Germany where they say like, "Oh, my English is terrible," you know, like meaning it's better. You know, it's like the video you said, it's better than your English. Their media is overwhelmingly in Italian, you know, which I was into. One of my favorite games with my wife whenever we're there is What the Fuck is Going On game show edition. We'll watch Italian game shows and try to decipher what the hell is happening, because they're a bit like Japanese game shows. Like suddenly a physical challenge is happening. You're like, wait, what? Did he just say like throw thing? I don't know. And our Italian is not good. Anyway, I applaud them for committing this hard. And these songs were fun, guys. This album I could and did work out to. Not that that should be the measure thing.
Did you enjoy the blast beats in it as well?
Yes.
Here's some death metal drum and you're like, what?
No, and once in a while they'd come in, I was like, fuck yes. Like every so often they'd give me a little I wish there were a bit more, but I don't know, this album was fun.
It was fun. Y'all want to talk about songs?
Okay.
Wrong album, David. That was Persona non grata.
Yeah, touche, salesman. Touche.
So
oh, look, is that what it says on the deluxe edition liner notes? Is that where you got that, Tracy?
That's my own personal opinion.
So wait, are you in love with it again? Like I didn't break you by showing you its origin story?
I mean, that hurt, but I still enjoy the song.
But it's if you love someone enough, you'll just get over it.
It's like finding out your grandma's recipe of cookies that you love so much actually came out of like a cookbook that could be bought online or from the store.
You actually just buy Toll House and put some in a thing. I made these especially for you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
This shit came from a box. That's fair. I thought you were going to say like a relationship and you find out they had a past. Well, this song had a past. Surprise,
it's like Clark's.
You dated whom? Anyway, yeah.
Or the Clark's moment when he's like, "You did what?"
Lumberg fucked her.
37 people
in a row.
So these are all songs by them, and they are all dwarfy. They're all catchy. I agree that Drunken Dwarves and Diggy Diggy Hole, well, perhaps not the best song ever, is catchy. Mine are, I don't know, they're all kind of the same. But
honestly, I think they're all the same. If you like Diggy Diggy Hole, you're gonna like the rest of the album.
You're gonna love the rest of this album.
And I enjoyed all of this album. I actually think, for real, the best song in this album is Winter Saga.
That's pretty. We Were Warriors also, like albums like this are made or broken by how they end. And I think it is, well, maybe needlessly long. I don't know. It ends on a pretty strong note. Like they take themselves just seriously enough.
To your point, I think you're right on that. I actually think that The King Under the Mountain and We Were Warriors, either one would have served up fine as an album closer. So they ended fairly strong.
Agreed. Yep. Yeah, some ends I think a little better than it starts. I think the middle and the end of this album are good, really good.
Gabe, how did you enjoy this torture session for you?
I mean, look, these guys, they can sing, they can certainly write a song, but it's really not my cup of tea. Like the symphonic power metal thing is just like not what I'm looking for in a metal album or in any other kind of album
in life.
Like they can play their instruments, but I just wish they'd do something else with them. Like that's sort of where I fall on this. And like I said, Drunken Dwarves I think is a pretty decent song. I could see myself listening to that on its own. Maybe King Under the Mountain, but like that's pretty much it. Like the other stuff is just, I don't know. It's a lot of cheese for one meal.
I love cheese so much though.
I know. I could live off cheese.
I do. I am. That's like what I eat every lunch at school. It's just a block of cheese, like cry in the corner. Like that's how Tron is living, Gabe. This is cheese. And this album, apparently, because this week I'm like, oh, time to listen to Winter Saga.
And you just tear up a block of cheddar. It's like, here we go.
Block of cheddar and some fucking wind roast dwarf, still dwarfing, actually.
Yeah. All right, time for grades.
D for dwarf. I'm not giving it a D. I'm sorry. Tracy, you go first.
I'm gonna give it a B plus. 88.
I'm going to give it a D plus.
A B plus?
A D plus.
That makes way more sense. I was like, I'm sorry, what? After when you just apologies, everyone. He said D as in dwarf plus.
Yeah, D as in dwarf. That's the only acceptable answer. It is fun. It is novelty. It is something that is kind of cool to put on in certain very limited occasions. It's infectious as shit. Huh?
With your bros in a van on a long ass car ride.
Yeah, sure. That would be okay. Or using it in a D&D game, like there's a bunch of dwarf bards, or you're in a dwarf bar, or whatever, and that kind of thing. But for general everyday listening, no bueno, no buys.
You're a dwarf bard in a dwarf bar.
Yeah.
I think this album is fun and it's very ridiculous. And I didn't think I was going to like it. I was really not excited about it, but I'm going to give it an 80. I think it is, because I don't think it's just for hardcore fans. I think anyone can think about taverns and rowing and mining if they really apply themselves. This is the perfect album for certain occasions. It's been noted. So I'm going to go with it. It's an 80 for me.
Yeah, this is I don't think D plus is actual grade on this scale, but I would give it a C minus D plus.
Pretend that's there. I don't know why C minus and D plus vanished. I think they just had no room. Assume they exist. Assume this is college.
I don't think. I mean, actually put one on the original one.
Yeah, there's not one on the original one because I ran out of characters because it was a tweet. But
well, there you have it. So yeah,
it's between. So I guess a D plus is mostly filler.
One standout track,
some filler,
a good track.
Occasionally killer.
It's that gradients there.
Yeah, I mean, I essentially would give this album a 69.
I would give you one right back.
Hi-oh.
So, well,
it makes me sad because I'm gonna have to put everybody's grade to an A plus because that's the only acceptable answer.
Oh, you're gonna cook the books. This is what makes you corrupt. Up to this point, you've been like
it's the Italian response, David.
No, it is the Italian response. Like, what's it gonna cost to put all of you in an A plus today?
Google even knew it was the only Italian response. Look what Google put in there as the A plus.
So this is Tracy's version of trasformismo, but it's traceformismo, where he traces you into accepting the grade. Traceformismo.
Oh, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse.
I can't, and I didn't. I rode because of this album. I went to a tavern because of this album. I became a dwarf because of this album.
I mined because of this album.
Yeah, I live for this album. I don't live for this album, but I thought it was fun.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. This is something that was fine to listen to once, but
I listened to it a bunch because I'm a dumbass. I don't know.
I listened to it more than once, but I only enjoyed listening to it once.
That's fair. You have plenty of F's left to give.
I do.
Speaking of F's, what are we doing next, Tracy? Trace for Mismo.
We are probably listening to Ben's next F album as we finish up the Slipknot discography with "We Are Not Your Kind."
Well, I'm happy to hear it. I think that album's an album. And I bet you Ben gives it higher than an F, but not a whole lot
probably.
there.
I haven't heard that one, but I hadn't heard 5 either until it was time to review it. So
you shouldn't have made that bet in front of Ben, David.
Yeah, he's gonna is there something below an F?
That's gonna totally screw you later on.
He gives it he gives it an L or whatever. That would be like a 35.
This album is incomplete. They have to go back into the studio.
What's going to happen? Whatever music program Ben listens to it on is going to glitch, and he's going to get some random bullshit and not actually the album. And Ben's just like, I hated it. It's going to be like massage therapy, like background noise the entire time.
We've listened to some albums. The
background
would have been better than. So
I'm pretty sure you give Zevs. Huh? So there we go.
There we go.
Where are everybody's yearly averages right now, Tracy?
Yearly averages.
I gotta get some stats.
Here, so
Yeah, we're getting close to the end, so I'm just
well,
curious.
this only covers Thunderdome Year 3. So
yeah,
it's,
sure.
only that.
it's our canonical, it's the Tresorian calendar. It's not the actual.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we got Ben coming in at high 82.
Sure.
I've got an 87. David with his 88.
Oops.
And Gabe with his 84.
Yeah.
Thank God the dean sent you here to make sure we're in that B range, and here you are.
What's the average for this? If you said it, I didn't hear it.
Oh, I did not say it. The average for this is a 76.
It's a fine score.
I find it funny that we had no actual C's in that. It's either good or hated it.
I mean, if it's grad school, it's an F, Ben.
Well, yeah.
So, you know, I guess it depends on what level they're operating at. The dwarf level.
So it's an A.
So it's an A. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Diggy your holes, and thank you for listening to Thunderdome Middle.